This is Talking Law on Radio 97. Despina Prialo from Prialo Legal. And we're looking right now and talking about something that I think you're probably pretty passionate about, Despina, and that is online safety.
Yes.
There's some changes possibly coming to cover online safety.
Yes, there is. There's an online safety bill that's been issued at the moment for submissions and for review out there. So I'd like to talk about that a bit and what it may mean for Australians because it will affect everybody around Australia if this online safety bill actually gets passed. And of course, having children myself, it is something important and I do feel passionate about it because being able to go online, anybody in Australia, and use products and services and using websites, etc., you should be able to do that quite safely and not have harmful or offensive content being thrown at you in particular ways, and very much for children out there as well. So I thought we'd talk about that this morning, and to do that, I think it's important to go back a bit and explain to everybody out there, Australians, what we currently have, because Australia has actually been at the forefront of online safety legislation, which maybe a lot of people aren't aware of. But we have had legislation in place for a number of years to help with online safety. And ever since, 1999, 2000, we've actually seen an increase of harmful content posted online. And it's getting worse and worse and worse. And with the advancement of technology, we have to be able to keep up. And the only way to be able to do that, to try and control and monitor as best we can products and services and content on websites, is to introduce new legislation, which is why they've introduced the online safety bill for review and submissions at the moment.
Now, some of the laws that cover online safety have been there on the books for 20 years. Now, obviously, over that time, technology has changed incredibly.
Yes, it has, and we have to be able to keep up. And how do we do that? We've got to pass new laws that help us control the changes with technology. So, for example, in 2015, Australia established an e-safety commissioner. Now, maybe a lot of people aren't aware of that, but that was a world first. So we have an e-safety commissioner established for the last 5-6 years, and that particular commissioner has very wide powers, discretionary powers, to be able to deal with information and content that is posted online. So this particular online safety bill is designed to enhance those particular powers in line with changes with technology and to try and keep up with that. So I thought I'd mention a few things that this particular bill is designed to prevent or to assist with if it gets passed in its current form.
All right, so these laws, in many cases, 20 years old or more. So how far away do you think it would be before we would start to see some updated versions of them?
Okay, so the online safety bill has been out there for review recently for submissions, and the submissions are closing 14th of February. But I do know that since December 2019, there's been a lot of consultation, reviews and discussions about making changes to these current laws to keep up with technology. And I know that the Morrison government is committed to seeing these changes go through, hence why the online safety bill has come out. And I think we will find after the submissions that it'll be, if it gets passed, it'll be passed quite quickly. I think there's not a lot of objections to these type of changes to the laws for online safety. So one of the first things it's going to actually do is provide very substantial penalties for those that are going to breach these new laws. So, and we'll talk about some of the things it's designed to do in a minute, but the penalties that they're going to apparently bring out for individuals and companies are quite substantial. So we're talking about penalties and fines of $111,000 for individuals who breach the new laws, and $550,000 for companies who actually breach the new laws if it gets passed. Now that's a substantial fines and penalties, which I dare say is designed to be a deterrent.
Yeah.
Yep,
that makes sense. Now, so what sort of things are we talking about here? I guess cyberbullying, for example?
Cyberbullying, we're talking about very wide discretions to immediately remove harmful and offensive content and comments on particular platforms, social media platforms, websites, etc. For example, revenge porn, for example, graphic violent content, and terrorism content. So those specific things that are not necessarily covered to that detail in the current legislation will be covered off in the Online Safety Bill. And particularly, as I said, it's about giving the e-Safety Commissioner a wider power to immediately remove this type of content and comments made by other people that fall within these categories.
Are we talking about Australian sites here? Because of course the World Wide Web by its very nature is world and wide. So can an Australian government have a say over what's published on a website and have any sort of, can it take any sort of action against a website that's based anywhere else in the world?
Yeah, interesting question, and we don't have the answers yet until we read through the bill specifically and see exactly how far and wide these powers are. But certainly websites and platforms here that are used, I dare say that they will have a certain extensive powers to be able to govern those sites because social media platforms are not just Australia restricted. So we'll have to see the extent of those powers. But I think this is a first step, a real step in changing and reforming online safety laws. So if we take an example that happened in Christchurch, and you remember the Christchurch rampage?
Yes, those people that were killed in the mosque.
Yes. So that was live streamed when that happened, and really it shouldn't have been. But the ability to do that was. So this particular bill is actually giving these examples, and they're saying, look, it's designed, the new laws are designed so that if someone tried to do this again, under the new legislation, they wouldn't be allowed to do it. It would be shut down immediately. And that's the type of thing that I think most Australians, if not all, would want to see. For the future.
Of course. And as we said before, the technology is moving so quickly. So even laws that they're working on now may well need to be updated again in a much sooner time frame.
That's right. So within the Australian legal framework, this Online Safety Bill will somehow provide the e-Safety Commissioner with the ability to shut down the use of these websites if they find that there's offensive, harmful content, violent, graphic content, revenge porn content, live streaming of terrorism acts and things like that, massacres and all sorts of things we've seen in the US, for example. So it's designed to do that, and the bill must in some way be able to give the Commissioner that ability to do that very, very same thing that we're talking about, and also being allowed to provide links to those platforms that actually show that content. So companies that may not provide the content themselves, but then send a link or post a link that then links, gives people the link to go to another platform to be able to view that harmful content. That's also going to be covered off, where you can't just do that. You can't just post up a link and be free from any consequences of the new laws. So that's also going to be included.
So they're talking about changing these laws now, and they're taking submissions. So anyone can actually put in a submission right now. Yes.
So I've actually got the website, and you're free to give submissions until the 14th of February, which is around the corner. So the website is communications.gov.au/online.safety. So if you'd like to submit anything in relation to this Online Safety Bill, please do so. But I think this is a very good reform and a very good way to move forward with these particular laws that they're proposing.
Yes, and as we said, there's certainly, it's a whole viper's nest, if you like, of potential problems out there. So they've got to get a move on.
Well, I don't think any laws are perfect. We try to keep up with the changes in technology, and they are moving so fast. So I think that they're trying to do the best that they can. And I think when the Online Safety Bill gets, if it gets passed, and I'm sure it will, they'll also find changes along the way, undoubtedly in the next few years, with changes again with technology.
Okay, so we can actually have a say before they bring those laws in. So that's certainly possible. That website again?
So communications.gov.au/online.safety.
Okay. Now this is Talking Law on Radio 97, and that's just about it for us for this week, Despina. But next week, apparently there's going to be an increase in litigation, you believe, in the next couple of years. So we're going to talk about that next week, and like for a whole number of reasons. Can you just give us a brief preview of what you mean there by an increase in litigation?
Well, yes, I think it's on the cards for the next 5 years. A plethora of litigation, for example, very hot topic at the moment about employers and whether they can actually force their employees to take a COVID-19 vaccine. So that's a very hot topic, and and there's a lot of interesting articles being published at the moment about that. So I think that's something to talk about next week and try and help employers currently deal with that situation and what they should or should not do.
Interesting. All right, we'll look forward to that. So you'll be back from 8:30 next Thursday morning here on Radio 97. And if you're interested in hearing more and perhaps even seeing a video of this morning's program, you can do that. Despina Priala is... have a look at prialalegal.com.au. That's the website. But if you want to check out, there's a YouTube link. There's also personalised contacts as well. It's all available through Google. All you need to do is type in the name Priala, Priala. That brings up the website, it brings up the Facebook page, it brings up YouTube, it brings up the whole lot, the contact details as well. So just type that into Google, Priala, and the rest will be there for you. Despina, we'll hear from you next week.
See you then.